Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jessie Nealand. Today we are doing part 3 in my series on the runner body image avatar. We're talking about 5 common characteristics for this avatar. Last week we talked about how the runner tends to be a master of numbing and disconnecting. So today we're going to talk about the fact that the runner tends to be disconnected from their bodies and their feelings also. So disconnected from themselves, their bodies, their emotions. So obviously you can see how last week's common characteristic leads to this week's common characteristic. That's how this sort of ends up happening. A person who spends a lot of time pushing down their emotions or tuning out their sensations or really trying hard not to notice their intuition or the signals their body's giving them of like rest or eat or any of those things, makes sense that they would end up kind of numb, right? Also, the runner tends to end up disconnected from their body both because they've been consciously working on it, such as dieting is like a way of consciously disconnecting from hunger, or at least an attempt to. That can make the signals that the body would normally be sending you about when you're hungry and when you're full really, really quiet and hard to hear. But other times it happens due not to what they're actually doing, but due to trauma. So trauma is another time where sometimes a person will sort of go numb or disappear from their body in a way that is like survival, 100% survival instinct, not something that they've chosen to do, just something that the body and brain do to protect them. So in those moments, if they have frozen and sort of floated away from themselves, one of those sort of out of body experiences you might hear about, or just a feeling of like watching the sort of trauma play out without being in your body, feeling it, but like watching it from nearby. That can happen. And then if you don't learn how to reintegrate, to come back to your body, to climb back in and be re-embodied, which like nobody teaches us in our culture, then that can last. So a person who had a traumatic incident happen a long time ago might still be feeling some of the numb or disconnected from self and body consequences of that years and even decades later. So the runner is often in this position. They can't hear the sensations, the signals, the messages that their body's trying to send them. So therefore, they kind of feel lost. They don't know what to do. Like they try to take good care of themselves and their bodies, but they don't fundamentally, they don't have the information they need. Because all of that information lives in their body. The body is constantly talking to us. It's constantly telling us, you're hungry, go eat. You're tired, go sleep. You're stressed out, take a rest or meditate. Like there is constant information coming from the body. And even our emotions are information. If it says you're angry, it's like, okay, a boundary has been crossed. Figure out what that is, and deal with that. So when you can't hear those things, as many runners can't, because they are disconnected from the information in their bodies, it makes it really, really difficult to take good care of yourself because you're kind of guessing. It would be like trying to take care of a car really well without being able to see the dashboard. Like you have no idea when it needs gas, no idea when, some kind of thing is broken, or no idea when the brake light comes on. Like it's just flying, blindfolded. It makes it way too difficult to do a good job at what you're trying to do, which leads a lot of runners, unfortunately, to get hurt or to get sick, or to otherwise have some kind of consequence of not being able to properly take care of their bodies that lead them to hate their bodies even more, to resent their bodies, to feel like they've been betrayed by their bodies even more. So it really builds in this way. Not being connected to their bodies leads to them not being able to take good care of it, which leads to, usually some kind of negative consequence as the body's like, like I can't do what you're asking me to do. I need this other thing. Why aren't you giving it to me? And then boom, the runner is now like, my body sucks. What is wrong with it? I hate it here. And that's a really, really common experience. And they're not necessarily aware that they're not getting these signals. So a lot of the work for many runners is to learn how to tune back in to the sensations and signals and messages of their bodies, to learn how to feel the cues of hunger, rest, to feel how it feels to know your emotions and be able to identify them in the moment and actually like take action on them. Recognizing the messages that your body is giving you is a huge help towards healing the relationship with your body and moving towards body neutrality for so many runners. And this also has to be done consciously because a lot of the numbing is done intentionally, right? Like checking out with alcohol or marijuana or video games or social media or shopping or gambling or, whatever it is. Those also have to be gently and compassionately looked at so that there is less numbing happening on a daily basis and a bigger capacity for dealing with life starts to emerge in its place. So they have to be done kind of at the same time. Because none of those things can just be stopped cold turkey. If you don't have the skill to handle what you're feeling when you feel it, then you're always going to need to disappear. So for the runner, a lot of the work is to both notice what you've been avoiding, what you've been numbing or repressing or disconnecting from, learn to build slowly over time a bigger and bigger capacity for feeling it, for handling it and being present with it, and then slowly bringing down all of the numbing and disconnecting behaviors that reinforce the sense of disconnect. And that's it. Super common experience for many runners. Thank you so much for being here and watching. I'll be back here next week with another of the runner's common characteristics. Thanks for watching. I'll see you then.